All right, guys. First and foremost, what I wanted to do here, real quick, I'm battling a cold right now, which I think is just about over with, but it's still not gone completely. So, however my voice sounds, please excuse the sound of my voice and me clearing my throat a billion times. I'm still battling to get over this cold. Anyway, what I wanted to do here is to explain something to you guys. And I almost forgot about this revelation that God gave me. So I want to get to this right now. And part of the understanding of the timing of the rapture and how I said it's the ninth of Ab event, it's the event at the end of the 3 weeks. And if you've listened to me now, you know I believe that the rapture is most likely going to take place on Halloween, on the 31st, or 3 days after that on November 3rd, which is the 24th day of the month, as in Haggai chapter 2, verse 20, the 24th day of the month. And on God's calendar, it's the 24th day of the true 7th month. Okay? But what the Lord showed me was to really look at the word we have for rapture in the Bible. Now, as you know, if you know the Bible, you know the word rapture is not in the Bible, but we know that it absolutely is in the Bible in the way God explains it. The word the Bible uses for it is the Greek word, as you can see here, of course, G726, and the concordance is harpazo or harpazo. And that's where we, through Latin and then to English, we get the word rapture. Anyway, meaning to be caught up. But the Lord wanted me to look at exactly what does it mean. And he showed me how the answer was in the meaning of the word. So now, let's get to that. All right. So when you look at the word harpazo, what it means is to seize or carry off by force, to seize on, claim for oneself eagerly, or to snatch out or away. So think of this. Think of a person like a child being in the street, or maybe a kid that's about to chase a ball into the street, and the kid is unaware of the oncoming car, and you're standing there and you quickly grab that kid out of the way of this oncoming car. That's a harpazo, all right? That's a rapture, to pull someone out of harm's way, referring to a harm that they may not know is coming, and you're saving them out of the way of something that intends to, may take their life or something like that. So the Lord had me to really look at that and realize, think about this. When you look at what happened to Jesus and you compare it with what happens with the two witnesses after the rapture, it says the two witnesses are going to prophesy for a time. And as I've explained, that 1,260 days or 42 months has been shortened down. They're only going to prophesy for 420 days. But when you look at that, what it says happens to them is the beast that rises out of the pit is going to kill them, and their dead bodies will lay in the street for 3 days and a half for everyone to see them. Of course, the Antichrist has made an example of them. And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God enters into them, and they stand on their feet, and then they hear the voice of a trumpet telling them to come up here, and they ascend to heaven. Now, the Bible uses a different word there for ascend. Same thing as with Jesus when he ascended to heaven. That's different from what we have here with harpazo, which is to be forcefully and quickly snatched up out of harm's way. So why is that? The Lord had me to ask myself that. Why is it that the first fruits rapture of the bride of Christ, it's going to be taken in Revelation 12, verse 5, caught up unto God, unto his throne, but yet Jesus and the two witnesses both ascend and will ascend to heaven? Why is that? Because what you have to understand is this. Jesus was no longer in harm's way. What else could be done to him? He had already been tortured and crucified and killed, and he had been risen, and now he was going to ascend to heaven 40 days later. So he ascended. He was no longer in danger. The two witnesses are also killed and lay dead in the streets for 3 days and a half, and then now they stand to their feet, and then they are going to ascend to heaven. They're no longer in harm's way. We, the bride of Christ, the first fruits rapture, what God is saying is, I'm going to snatch you out because there is something or someone that intends to harm you at that time. That's what the Lord wanted me to see about this. And when I saw that and asked myself that, I said, okay, what could it be here? And I'll tell you what it makes me think of immediately. The first thing that kind of came to my mind was Judah Maccabee and his people who followed him. They killed one of their own who had sacrificed a pig on the altar, and they fled. Why? Because they knew something was coming to get them. They knew that Antiochus, when this man found out what they had done, he was such a brutal, evil man that if he had found out what they had done, he was going to come there and slaughter everybody, which is exactly what he did. He came and slaughtered thousands of people, men, women, and children, everyone who did not flee to the mountains. So in a sense, even though no one snatched Judah Maccabee and his people out, it was the same scenario. They had to go because they were in harm's way. Okay? And it's the same thing at the moment of the rapture. So I said to myself, wow, if you read Revelation 12, what does it say is waiting for the bride of Christ. It says the dragon stood before the woman to do what? To devour her child as soon as it was born. Remember, Joseph was told in a dream to take the woman, Mary, and the child and flee, because all the male children 2 years and under are in danger. You know what I mean? Herod has sent his people to kill them. So the Lord said, get up, take them, flee to another country, because this man has issued an order of death upon infant children. Same thing here. The dragon stands before the woman to devour her child as soon as it is born. This to me was a clear sign from the Lord that the enemy has plans of destroying the bride of Christ at that moment. Think about it. This is a ninth of Av moment. What is the ninth of Av? We talked about it. It's birth, but it is also the destruction of the temple. Who is the temple? We are the temple. The enemy is going to attempt to destroy us at the time that God is going to snatch us out so that can't happen. Okay? This goes back to what I told you guys about the head wound of the Antichrist. This, when it happens, is going to be blamed on Christians. Okay? It's going to be blamed on Christians for the purpose of demonizing and making the world hate us. They associate us with everyone who wants to keep the Second Amendment and own guns, and they associate us with Trump. What is the world trying to do? They're trying to destroy that Second Amendment, to destroy Trump, and to destroy Christianity. That's why the three are always put together. All right, we're always associated together. Those who want to hold on to the guns, and Trump and his supporters are always associated with Christianity. The enemy is now about to attempt to destroy all of it. And so we are going to be snatched up out of harm's way. You understand? It's the ninth of Av moment. So we are now, today is what, October 17th? So we're literally 2 weeks away from when I believe that event will happen. The ninth of Av day would be Halloween, October 31st, or November 1st, because November 1st would be the end of 21 full days. It would be day 22, which would actually be the ninth of Av day. So I believe the ninth of Av moment is scheduled for the 31st or November 1st. And the 31st is the seventh day of Tabernacles. For those who don't know, the way it works with the fall feast is there's a Jewish, I think it's a rabbinical tradition, but it's true though, which is that on Rosh Hashanah, the books in heaven are opened. On Yom Kippur, 10 days later, the books of judgment are sealed. But the way it works is that the judgment that has been sealed and has been decided on, when God has decided on the judgment of the people and of the nation, it is not delivered until the seventh day of Tabernacles. That's where your 21-day delay comes in, because the seventh day of Tabernacles is when the judgment is delivered. Now, here's what we're coming up on in a few days. If you've heard me on one of my past videos, I explained how the number 777, 21, which is, 777 being 21, seems to be associated with Trump. We explained the prophecy of the 777, 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days from his birth until the day of his first full day in office, January 21st, 2017. And even that day being the 21st, 21. And his connection with Lamech with that number 777. That seems to mark his life, that 777. So I believe that may be pointing to him only having Remember, he's the seventh king from Revelation 17. He only has a short time. I believe that points to him having 21 months in office. Obviously, he can't have 21 weeks because that is past. 21 days is past. We know he's not going to have 21 years. I believe that is pointing to him having a period of 21 months to his presidency, and then it ends. And you've heard me say before that on October 20th, which is Yom Kippur, or the 21st, the day after Yom Kippur, so this coming weekend, would be the end of exactly 21 months of his presidency. Counting from January 2017 until Yom Kippur, October 2018, would be exactly 21 months of his presidency. I believe it's very possible that his presidency, if it does not end this weekend coming up, it will end by the 7th day of Tabernacles, by Halloween. And we know that when that happens, we know who's going to replace him. They're going to put Obama back into office. Okay, that's the inauguration event we saw that I explained to you before. That's the event that will happen somewhere between October 31st and November 3rd, possibly on November 3rd. That's Obama being inaugurated back into office. That's the sixth king becoming the eighth. So I just wanted to explain to you. So if we go to Genesis chapter 45, and this, of course, is the Joseph, who we know is the best, most perfect foreshadow of Jesus in the Bible. We go to Genesis 45. I'll start in verse 5, where it says, "Now therefore be not grieved, nor angry with yourselves." And this is Joseph talking to his brothers when he's revealed himself to them. "Be not grieved or angry with yourselves that you sold me here, for God sent me here before you to preserve life." Verse 6 says, "For these 2 years hath the famine been in the land, and yet there are still 5 years in which there shall be no earing or harvest." And as you know, this is a reference to what I explained before, and I'm going to continue that and get to that a little bit more in the next video.